Hello YouTubers. A while back I posted a video about OData and the power that OData provides for people who develop APIs that allow their clients to filter and select and sort and order, you know, the existing collection of data that's already on the server before it comes back to the end user. And you could go back and watch that video, but the point here is I was really inspired by the idea of telling the API to do something on the existing data before it comes back to the end user. So I thought to myself, why don't we just push code as a request and have that code follow certain criteria and have that code execute on the native data that's already existing in the microservice and then bring it back to us. So this way, instead of sending for the data, waiting for it to come back on the network, and then running, why don't we send the code and the request and have all that use the computing cloud power that's on the server rather than using that computing power on the client side. The client could be just a browser and you don't know how much memory and how much power that client has. Why don't we run everything on the server and then have that come back to us, executed, filtered, doing whatever we want with it. I understand that this could have some risks, like could be dangerous. It could cause a lot of problems. You know, it's but probably a standardization nightmare, you know, when you want to standardize something like that. This is the idea here, to have a client push code, run on the native data that's already existing in the microservice and push it back. And I wanted to experiment with that, and I want to share the code and the API with the world. So I went ahead, I built an ASP.NET API, and I have a few things in here. First of all, we want to start with a request, right? If you're pushing code to your API, you probably want to tell your API what usings, what libraries you want to use, and what parameters you want to add, and push the code itself, just the executable, not the method names or the class names. None of that matters. We just want the actual logic that distinguishes one method from the other and one class from the other, right? So you have that, and then within the parameters, I said, what do I need from parameters? I need a type, I need a name, and I need a value, right? And if I define all of that and push that through the API, maybe something will happen, right? Maybe I will give a lot more power to my clients to do much more with the data before it comes back to them. So let's see how's that going to work, right? I deployed the code to Azure. You could go to that link, Funky API. I called it Funky. I want it to be Funkapi, but you know, I'm terrible with names anyway, so just go ahead with that for now. And we're calling an API. If you look at the controller, the values controller in here, what it's basically doing, it's calling a values service. That service is basically just a class that provides a bunch of data. I don't care if you're using Cosmos DB or SQL. It doesn't matter. Just think about this as a data source. And it also uses a compilation service, right? The compilation service has 4 methods, one to build the code, one to execute the code, and one to do the compile and the execute. The first 2 are something I had to build myself. The second 2 is something I stole from the internet. This gentleman here said 3 options to dynamically execute C# code. It was published in 2014, and this is one of the best articles I've ever seen. He really simplified the whole thing into a couple of methods, and then you could run the method however you want. So I did a little bit of modification in there. You could go to my GitHub. There's a link down there in the video. Go to GitHub repo and see what I did there. I did a little bit of modification there just to make sure things work. And because this is just a prototype, it shouldn't work with everything, but it's really interesting, and I want you to try it out and see what these APIs could do. So anyways, so you have the compilation service, and what I'm really doing is that I'm getting the raw data, and then I'm passing that raw data with the request to the execute request. What the execute request will do is that it'll take that request, build the code out of it, and then the compile source code DOM will create a DLL, temporary DLL, and then it'll execute that DLL and then give me back the data. Right? There are of course assumptions here. Like I'm making an assumption of list of string. Software engineers, you understand. You could modify that however you want. You can make it as generic as you want. Anyways, let's come to the fun part. So I made a sample request here. I am pushing in code that basically iterates through the native values, and that has to be pre-known that they're called values. And I'm passing in a parameter. I called it my parameter of type string that says hi Hassan, and these are my usings, the things I use. I'm using collection generic in here so I can use the count functionality out of a list of values, right? Is that going to work? Yes, it does work because I tried that before, but I'm going to try things that I haven't really tried. So I am pushing to that API. It's taken a while. I honestly forgot what kind of instance I use, so I hope it doesn't take too long. Otherwise, we're just going to have to... Oh, there you go. So it's returning a list where my parameter added to the value returns this. Okay, this is the part that I tried. Let's try with things that I haven't tried, right? So instead of my parameter, first of all, you can see a problem in here that, you know, the strings, they don't have a space between them. So how much power do I have? Can I just do this? If I do this, would this work for me? I don't know. Let's see. Would that give me the space? Man, that takes too long. I probably should run it locally just for the video time and whatnot. Oh, look at that. So that worked. Can I use interpolation? I wonder if I can use a $sign. Okay. And do this. Will that work? Come on. It's taking a second there. Oh, look at that. That worked. All right, now let's take that to a next level. Okay, let's pass more parameters and let's do more stuff with it. So if I go here and say, by the way, the slowness is just basically what kind of instance I'm using on Azure. So let's say I'm going to pass a number parameter of type, let's say double. And let's pass a value of I don't know, 10. Okay, and let's use that in here. So instead of my parameter, since I have that going, let's do this. Let's go in here and say, in addition to that, let's do num multiplied by I. So we're iterating on I anyway. And let's have that number that we pass, which is 10, multiplied by whatever index value that's going on. So if I push that, what happens? Am I going to break the server? I'm probably going to break the server. Come on. Oh my God, this is amazing. So you could pass code and you could filter things out of that code. You know, what if I want to filter? What if I want to say, if the value is 1, which is something that OData already gives you out of the box, right? What if I say, let's take all that out and do something even better? What if I say if values in I equals does not equal, oh, let's do even better, contains 5. Only if the value contains 5. What do we do? If the value contains 5, then let's go ahead and do something with it. So values of I It's 5. Ooh, it's 5. Like that. And then let's just do the little escape. So if the value has 5, which is the last one, it should just completely, the rest of the list will stay the same, except for the last one. It should say 5 at least. I don't know, is that gonna work? It's probably gonna blow up, I don't know. Ah, I broke it. So let's see what happened here. If values, do I need system in here maybe? I don't know. Where contains come from? If values of I contains, this is not a string value, of course. And this is one of the dangerous things about this. You probably want to run your code locally before you do that, but still, if it contains 5, it's 5 values. I don't know, maybe like this. Would that work? I don't know. There is. Let's take that code out to an actual compiler and see what happens. So what if I did a method in here? Private void my method, and let's just throw some stuff like that at it. Oh, I forgot to close my if statement. Aha! Is that it? It's probably it. So, okay, so in here, and then this. That should be it. Hopefully. So this is the if. I feel like I have an additional thing going on here. What about that? No, I don't know. So if this and then for loop, right? We have the for loop in here. This is very tricky. Let's go back to this, just for funsies, and see if that works for us. Yes, there it is. So if it contains 5, that was embarrassing. So if it contains 5, you get to go and filter the data and then bring it back. And if I don't want the item at all, like I want to completely alter the item, and I don't want it to come back, then this is what happens. It should just say it's 5. Yes. So this is the idea. You know, that took a while to fix, but this is the idea. Why don't we just submit code and have that code run, like we make sure the code actually runs locally, and then so you don't have to keep debugging through an API request, and then you pass as many parameters as you want and then iterate through that. That's fantastic. That's a pretty good idea. So that's pretty much it. I don't think if you passed in lists or arrays, I don't know if that's gonna work. I'm not sure really, but other than that, you know, this is an idea worth exploring. If you have any comments, you think this is something that someone tried before, please send me a link. I'd like to learn how far did they go, and if not, what do you think about this idea? What do you think the risks are, you know, to running something like that? What do you think how far can we take this, and how far can we take advantage of the computing power on the server to have seamless experience across all clients, instead of having our clients, based on their memory and their hardware constraints, deciding with how fast something is going to be computed, on the client side. And I don't know. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like and drop some comments, and I'll see you in another video.